And new undisputed champion of the UFC, Sugar Sean O'Malley. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Die Hard MMA podcast. I'm your host, as always. Seems like every damn episode this year, rocking the baby blues. The Die Hard stimulus check is in full effect. We got out of last week with a W, thanks to the man himself. You know what? I should have preemptively bought one of the Sean O'Malley pink wigs. Unfortunately, I don't have one to rock for you on the show today. I'm going to need to show my appreciation and buy a little bit of merch, apparently, at this point. They tried to take the win from us last week, folks. They did their damnedest. We had GM3 at plus 220, which was a damn good bet, if I do say so myself. Went to a split decision. Could have brought that home. We had Damon Black Shear at plus 160, which was another solid bet. It came down to a swing round. If you just scored round 2 our way, that was a very competitive fight. I would make that bet again tomorrow. And then we had a nuke, an absolute nuke on Ian Gary inside the distance. And the kid just had no interest in finishing the fight. He literally wanted to beat Neil Magny within an inch of his life because of the stupid child beating comments and the whatever he tried to make out of the press conference and stuff like that. It was dumb, but he could have finished literally at any point in time. Bad bet? No. Bad bet sizing? Yeah, but we were taking a shot. We knew better. And the 2-unit bomb on the sub prop at plus 650, we beat the number by a mile. They moved that thing down to like plus 400 by fight time. And what does he do with 2 seconds on the clock? He jumps on a guillotine, where if he had just done that in any of the 5 opportunities that Magny gifted him for grappling throughout the fight, it would have been over. The read was there. It was perfect. It was beautiful, and none of it came through. We needed Sean O'Malley to rescue us, and he did. Plus 2 units on the night. The road to 100 units continues. We're not quite there yet because of all of the shenanigans. If Ian Gary finishes, we break 100, but it is what it is. We have to pick ourselves up. We have to dust ourselves off and move on. And boy, are we moving on this week. We got a good show for you, and we've got an even better guest, a guy that you may have seen on Twitter or Instagram. You know, he's been around, but you also might know him for having maybe some of the most awesome videos TikTok has to offer when it comes to MMA betting. None other than my guy, Matty Betts. What's up? How you doing today, my man?
Dude, I'm right there with you on a lot of pain from last week's card. The funny thing is the one bet I hit, I shouldn't have won. I had Gary by decision, and I couldn't believe I hit that bet. The entire fight, I was like, there's no way. I think in maybe 5 times that fight could have been stopped when Magny was hopping on one leg. So that was the one bet I probably shouldn't have hit, and I hit it. But I'm right there with you. I felt like I just had so many bad beats this past week. I had 4 winning cards in a row, and then I got absolutely crushed last week. Lost 9 units on the card, but I'm here. I'm ready to bounce back.
Yeah, man. Bounce back week in full effect. It's coming. It's happening. It's all right. We're going to get back on track here of just a weird, brutal card. I mean, even like Limos just having the most durability we've ever seen and somehow not getting finished, with Zhang putting up historic ass-beating numbers on her in that fight. Like, I couldn't tell. Dude, I got to tell you, I actually made a mistake. So right before the Limos and Zhang fight kicked off, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to tweet it, but I'm going to chase a little bit. And I wanted to sprinkle the Zhang 3, 4, and 5 submission props. And I accidentally bet the Limos 3, 4, and 5 submission props. And when she locked up that choke, I was like, did I just like backdoor myself into the biggest upset ever? It was
even
so
in
close.
round one, she almost had it. And that number in round one was plus 4,000 on the submission prop. It was like 40-1 for Lemos in that round one. I was sick on that fight. I had Zahn inside the distance. I also had a sprinkle rounds 1 through 3 submission. I mean, what more can you ask for? She took the fight to the ground all 3 rounds. She just, I mean, credit to Amanda, like just staying safe, and she had wrist control the whole fight pretty much. But I mean, Wei Li is a beast, though. She just couldn't get it. She just couldn't finish her. It was crazy.
It's nuts, man. What a wild card. Anyway, we're going to move on. Folks, I hope you're kicking some ass this week. I hope you tailed the Sean O'Malley bet. We've already got 75 live viewers here on the show tonight, so thank you all for being here. Smash the like button. As always, this is Pub Sports Radio. The show is powered by Bet Openly. We will talk about that a little bit later on in the evening, but we got a stacked night of fights to talk about, man. It's a bit of a weird card, but it's not hurting for name value. We got some fun stuff to do here, man. Some of these matchups, too, are pretty nuts, actually. I'm looking forward to this one. So let's kick off the night here. We've got Seung Choi taking on Jarno Errens, and Choi is 10-6. His opponent, Errens, 13-4. And, man, the first thing I want to point out about this first fight on the card is the stupid line. So Seung Choi was a minus 200 favorite. It looks like that finally is starting to move a little bit here. He's down to about minus 175. You can get Jarno Errens at plus 145. Man, at this point, we should know better. Like, Seung Choi just cannot be chalk. He can't be minus 200. It's not something you're allowed to lay. He is on a 3-fight skid. 2 of those last 3 losses were by finish. He got knocked out by Trezano in his last fight, which is a bad look because Mike Trezano hasn't done jack recently. I mean, he's tall, he's long. I'm a fan of the kid. He hits really hard. He's got fast hands. I like everything about him. It just seems like maybe he's peaked at 30 years old, man. It doesn't seem like he's improving anymore. It almost seems like he's declining. And he's 3-5 in the UFC overall. He's always going to be in there for a brawl. He's a little low volume, really relies on that right hand of his to do all the damage. Jarno Errens, on the other hand, 28 years old. Man, he got brought into the UFC to lose to William Gomi in his UFC debut. That's not a good look. Gomi isn't all that great. And to lose to a decision essentially dominantly, he never even really had much opportunity in that fight. Just a bad look. He's heavy on his feet. He's flat-footed. He just kind of walks his way forward. He does mix up his targets and goes to the body sometimes. I like that. But he doesn't know what he's doing on the ground. He has no ability to grapple whatsoever. Gets stuck on his back. He gives up his back getting up. He just makes these mistakes. Like, he looks like a guy who's not rounded out enough to be in the UFC, in my opinion. So, weird spot to start the night, man. I think I've still got to pick Choi. I just hate this line. There's no way I'm laying that price tag. What do you make of this first fight?
Yeah, I actually think it's a good buy low spot on Choi. I mean, he's literally fighting for his career here. Like you said, 3 straight losses. I mean, earlier on, he's fought some really good competition like Evelev, Gavin Tucker. I mean, he did KO Julian Erosa. Like, I think if you just watch this line throughout the week, maybe you get it like minus 160, minus 170. Like, I think it could be a decent buy low spot here. So I would play him here or just pass on the fight, honestly.
Yeah. All right. Favorite or pass? I don't mind that, man. I love me a good buy low spot, and I'm just not impressed with Jarno whatsoever. So I would have a hard time arguing for anything besides betting that side. It's just, man, it's tough. All right. What's up, everybody in the chat? I see all those usual names and faces. Thank you guys for being here this evening. Smash the like button if you haven't already. And of course, they fucked with my settings, man. They always mess with my settings. These guys drive me nuts here. Every single week I come back to StreamYard, the settings are all different for the way that I want to present the damn podcast. All right. So see, that doesn't work. That doesn't make any sense. What am I doing here? Because they messed it all up. All right. I'm trying to figure it out. Sorry, buddy. Bear with me. It's not supposed to work like this. What the heck is going on? Where is the... Okay, I guess we're just doing it this way. I'm sorry. It's terrible. You can't see it, but I really don't know what else to do because They keep changing the damn formats here, and I should have looked at it beforehand. Anyway, Liang taking on JJ Aldrich coming in here in the second fight of the night. And man, it took me a minute, but Liang is just Asian female Terrence McKinney. Like she's got about 3 minutes. She's got 3 minutes to finish the fight. She's big, she's strong, she is lanky, she hits hard, and that's it. Like she doesn't really do anything well. She's a glass cannon. As soon as she runs out of gas, she's completely helpless to defend herself. She's got decent submission offense. She's got a good arm bar on her. She is deadly, but if you wait her out, she's just going to die. Now, her opponent on the other side of this thing, JJ Aldrich, she is kind of the exact opposite. She's like a rock. She's slow moving. The biggest knock on JJ, and again, no disrespect, I love me some JJ. She's the most unathletic fighter in this division. Like she just kind of lumbers her way forward. She's a decent wrestler. She's got decent submission defense. She's a decent boxer. She doesn't hit very hard, but she's clean. Like it's really an opposites type of meeting here. Can Liang crack JJ Aldrich in the first couple minutes? Or is she going to get taken down and get grinded on? And maybe we actually see JJ get a finish because Na just doesn't have it deeper in the fight. I've got a hard time with this one, and I've got an even harder time with a minus 600 price tag on JJ Aldrich. I mean, it's dog or pass, and it's under all day. Like, those are the only two options. You lay it with the under because it's not Liang, and that's just standard. Or you got to hold your nose and take a stab on the finishing upside, I feel like.
Yeah. You see the under 2.5, I saw minus 155. I was blown away by that number. First of all, I saw like gone, JJ. Man. I saw JJ Aldrich at like minus 720. I don't know what the hell the number is now, but I couldn't believe it. I thought she was going to be like minus 350, minus 400. I was like minus 720. And then that under 2.5, minus 155. I mean, I guess that number is literally just like that because Aldrich literally hasn't finished anyone in the UFC. She's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 or 7 wins in the UFC, all decisions. Like, so something's got to give here. I like the under. If it's at minus 155, I'm taking that all day.
Okay. Yeah, man. If you can still get that under at minus 155, then go for it. I am sure it's just been absolutely nuked by now. I've got a hard time believing that price tag is going to stay put. Good luck to anybody taking the stab on Na. I can't imagine. I mean, okay. So I could imagine holding my nose and taking a plunge on Na here just for the shits and giggles. But folks, think about it. This is UFC Singapore. We are going at 2 a.m. this weekend, which, Maddie, you and I were talking about this behind the scenes before the show. I don't even know if I'm going to be up for this one, folks. This is the Die Hard MMA podcast. I watch every single fight out there, but UFC is the worst of the bunch this week. We've got Dana White's Contender Series on Tuesday, which has a pretty good slate. We've got PFL on a Wednesday for some reason. I don't know why they're doing that, but it's a pretty damn good card. I'm really looking forward to that one. And then I've got my dynasty draft, like my big football dynasty draft on Saturday. I don't know if I'm pulling an all-nighter to watch UFC Singapore. I might just get up a little early and like catch up late instead of staying up. I'm not sure, man, but
you gotta do it, bro. Just gotta watch it. I think I'm just gonna stay up Friday night and then like just watch the full card Saturday morning. And then just go to sleep Saturday afternoon. What time zone are you in?
So I mean, it starts at like 2 a.m. I think.
But what time zone are you in?
Oh, so I'm Mountain.
I'm Eastern time. So what's that, like? 4?
So it's like 4:30 for me right now.
Gotcha. Yeah, so that means it starts like 5 a.m. my time, I think, in Eastern.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
So I mean, it would be pulling an
all. That's not that bad for me.
Man.
Yeah, no, I just have to get up. I can just get up at 5. I don't need to stay up Friday night.
That's not too bad. Now, if you're just waking up a little early, I don't mind that at all. All right, everybody, here we go. Moving right along. We don't need to spend too much time on that one. Here, this doesn't work, but it works about as best as we can get. So we'll do it this way. The next fight up, we've got Yusaku Kinoshita taking on Billy Goff in a fight that I'm very, very excited to talk with you about, Maddie, because this is the first bet that I've made on this card, and I love it. because I'm just already getting the hate spew from people. Coming off the week where I call O'Malley at plus 215 and lay a 5-unit bomb on him, people immediately chirping when I put out a minus 145. I'm like, I bring it. I can't wait. Let's talk. No, let's go. So this, if you guys remember, I'm going to shout out my guy, Dan Levy. He monikered this kid Asian Conor McGregor. Like, that's the whole thing. He's athletic. He's big. He's fast. He punches hard. He hits like a truck. This kid is absolutely somebody the UFC is looking to go ahead and get behind here. They want to advertise him. They want to get the ball rolling here. But he took his first UFC L to my guy, Adam Fugit. A lot of people thought I was absolutely insane for playing Adam Fugit that night. And what I told them was, this is a kid. He's 22 years old in the UFC. Like, 9 times out of 10, these kids, they're destined for greatness. He's gonna be good. I mean, look at Rojas. Like, that kid took his beating too. They're just too young. You can't be that young fighting in the UFC right now. So he gets to the UFC, he gets taken out, he makes a young kid error. But you know what? He's training at Kill Cliff FC. He's surrounded by bodies. He's got a good coach. He's got all the raw talent and ability to do what he needs to do. He just needs time. He needs seasoning. He's got those hard low kicks. He's got the power in both of his hands. He does a good job of keeping the distance with that karate style. He plays with his hands low a little bit, but he uses that to set up his counters. I like everything about this kid. This is a buy low spot because he lost a Fugit. People think he's a bum. Now he's turning around. He's getting Billy Goff. This kid is 8-2, 25 years old. So he's in the right ballpark age range for someone to fight. And he's coming off Contender Series. His best attribute, Maddie, is his toughness. This kid isn't good anywhere. He just keeps coming forward. And a lot of people are like, oh yeah, but that's what Fugit did to win the fight, right? So this kid's a junkyard dog. He's got that heart in him. He'll keep walking forward. Yeah, but it's not the same. This kid gets dropped in every single fight that he's in. He doesn't have defense. He even got dropped on Dana White's Contender Series in the first 30 seconds. So yeah, he gets back up and he works his way back into fights after that. But you can't keep getting dropped against people, especially at the UFC level. Maddie, I think this kid's target practice. I think they're bringing him in here to get a highlight reel on Kinoshita, get him back on track. He doesn't check leg kicks. He's right there to be hit, and he's going to go chin for chin with you against a guy who's got way more power. I just don't see it. I think Kinoshita is going to knock him out, and I'll be honest with you. This is that spot where I'm not afraid to tell the market they're wrong, Maddie. Money has come in the other way. This Kinoshita line is dropping because people are betting Billy Goff. Give me a better number. I'll put more money on.
What'd you get it at?
I got him at minus 145, I think. Let me check to make sure.
So I see on FanDuel, I see minus 158, but usually earlier in the week, those numbers are so, the variance is so ridiculous on FanDuel. It's like plus 124 and minus 158.
Yeah. So I got him. Let's see here. I got him at minus 145. And I looked earlier today on DK, he was minus 135. It looks like he's minus 142 now. Nice. So maybe we're tug of war a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a good number. I mean, I'm with you. Billy just gets hit. He gets hit way too much.
Yeah.
I think this is a really good bounce back spot for him. Maybe it's one of those things where maybe that loss is what he needed. Like you mentioned, he's a young kid. Like, I think coming off of that loss here against a guy that's very hittable, this could be a spoon feed for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Our guy Mark in the chat saying to live bet Goff if Kinoshita doesn't get him out of there in round 1. I don't mind that. If you're going to be up at 2 a.m. to live bet Kinoshita versus Goff. I don't know if I will, but if you're awake, that's maybe not a bad strategy. I don't agree, though, Mark. Mark is saying that Kinoshita quit against Fugit, and I don't think he quit, man. He got hurt. Fugit bombed on that kid. Like, I think he didn't know where the hell he was, and then he got tapped out, if I'm remembering correctly. I gotta check that. Let me look, because I think Fugit.
No, it was an elbows TKO.
Okay, elbows from mount. Yeah, no, you're not quitting when somebody's elbowing you. Like, that's the ref stepping in and protecting you there.
Yeah, 100%.
So are you with me on this one, Maddie? You think
I'm with you. I want to see what the early knockout props are, like round 1, round 2. I usually look at like Bet Online early in the week because those props usually aren't anywhere else. Do you ever see the exact outcome props on any of the books early in the week?
No, they never add those until like Thursday.
So
it's never early.
I look on Bet Online because it gives me a general idea of what the exact outcome props are. Even though they are the lines aren't usually that great, it still gives me like a ballpark idea, and then I can just assume like FanDuel and DraftKings, the numbers will be like 10-20% better. But I can pull up that and see what those KO props might be.
Yeah. And those of you guys who haven't seen Maddie's work before, you should know he is the prop master. Like this guy, he will do all the long shots at like 35, 45 to 1 and sprinkle them. And, the card might look bloody. It might be like 3 and 10 or something, but he'll still be up 17 units because he hit 235 to 1s in there. Like, I will never forget, the Monkey King. You were one of the only people who took him by KO and you had the round prop also. And I was like, I was floored on that one, man. So everybody make sure you check out my guy, Matty. If you're not on TikTok, if you're on TikTok, you know exactly who he is. But if you're on any of the other platforms, make sure you check him out. Shout out my guy in the chat, Ethan. What's going on, Ethan? Hey, buddy, you need to DM me back on Twitter because I did a giveaway on Twitter for people to enter a free Bet Openly contest. And you, my friend, were one of the winners, but I need your email. Sign up on Bet Openly. Get that email to me. There weren't enough fights on UFC 292 that would work for the contest. So we're just rolling it over here to UFC Singapore. So everybody that was the winner last week, it's running this week instead of at UFC 292 because of all the minus 300 favorites and crap like that. So don't worry.
For this number? Round 1 KOs plus 485. Round 2 is plus 650.
Yeah, that's not bad. I mean, for a minus 145, minus 150 type favorite, that's not bad at all, man. People are forgetting.
Round 3 is plus 1200.
See, I don't think it's going to make it to round 3. I would be looking rounds 1 and 2.
That's probably what will be on my card is rounds 1 and 2, and hopefully on FanDuel it'll be like 6 to 1 and 8 to 1.
Yeah. Cross your fingers. I'm here for it. I am here for it. So speaking of which, folks, I'm going to just go ahead and pop this in the chat here. That's the link for Bet Openly. Make sure you get in there, sign up, and we will get the ball rolling. Oh, shit, my guy Dawes. You know what, Dawes? You're right. We do have a bet to settle, and I apologize because I am fresh out of Fireball, my guy. I owe you 3 shots, and I will make it up to you next week. I don't have the necessary tools right now. So you're absolutely right. And that's my bad. That's on me. I will make it up to you. You get 4 next week. I'll get you 4 shots to make up for being late to the party. That's my bad. All right, everybody. Next fight up. We've got Kenan taking on Rolando Bedoya. And this one's weird, Maddie. This one's really weird because I don't know what happened to this fight. I've had multiple different people message me and be like, bro, the Bedoya fight's off. Because I parlayed him. I like Bedoya. I put him in a parlay. Mm-hmm. And I've had several people tell me the fight is off. But I have yet to find anything online that actually says the fight's been canceled or moved. Have you heard anything?
Yeah, I haven't seen anything. That's the first time I've heard it.
Okay, so I'm just going to move forward and pretend like the fight's still on and give you guys the breakdown. If it's been canceled, I'm going to be mad, and I apologize for wasting your time. But here's the idea, right? Kenan, 19-7, 2-3 in his last 5, and both of those losses were by knockout. He really has been a guy relying on his power. He's a big hitter. I like Kenan. I've been on him before in the past, but that chin is just gone, man. I know he's getting a big break in competition. Theoretically, Bedoya is not as good as his last couple opponents, Ian Gary and Max Griffin. I mean, maybe he's in that range, something like that. He looked really good against Max right up until he got clipped, and then he just crumbled. Like, I think Seung's at that point where the chin is gone. I just don't think he can take punishment the way that he used to anymore. Everything he does is big, one and done, big power shots, always looking for the KO. And Rolando Bedoya is 14-2, 26 years old, shoot the box fighter, and those kids are on the rise right now. Like, shoot the box as a camp seems to be headed the right direction. He made a big splash in his UFC debut, narrowly losing a split to my guy, Chaos Williams. And I was terrified, Maddie, because I had Chaos in a parlay that night. I did not think this kid was anywhere near capable of what he did that night. And he showed out. I actually think the wrong fighter won. Like, I cashed a ticket on Chaos. And I think Rolando won the fight that night. He's got fast hands. He can strike moving backwards, which, always gives you that fadeaway hook type of ability when your opponents get over aggressive. He is super comfortable in the pocket, good boxing, really good head movement. I actually thought he was like a Mexican prospect. Watching him fight, he seems more like he's got that, durable chin pocket boxing style that you see from the guys from Tijuana rather than the shoot the box Brazilians. So I was a little surprised when I, actually did some research and figured out where the kid was from just because of the way he fights. But I mean, he absorbed 130 significant strikes from Chaos Williams and was smiling in the third round of that fight. Like, this kid is stupid durable and he's going to have a 3-inch reach advantage. This is a spot where I know we kind of swing heavy on these recency spots, especially when it's somebody who made their UFC debut on a loss. Like, we tend to give them maybe more credit than we should sometimes. But I really think we're stepping on the neck of Kenan Song here. I just think the guy is not able to compete at this level anymore. And unless you KO Bedoya, he's going to keep coming with high pressure, high pace, high volume until one of you breaks, and he ain't breaking.
Yeah, I think this is a really bad matchup for Son. Like, the public is going to look at Son and be like, oh, I can get a plus 220 dog here, a guy that almost put out Ian Gary, and they're going to be all over him. But this is a bad matchup for him. Like you said, he has to finish Rolando, and I don't see that happening. That dude's chin is unbelievable. He's got great pressure. I'm with you. I thought he won 29-28 against Chaos. Like, I mean, it was a split decision. It could have gone either way, but I really liked it. I really like this kid. I think he's going to get it done. I would look at maybe the double chance KO or decision prop here. But I think he's going to get the KO or TKO finish.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I do want to just mention our guy Rafael in the chat here saying Bedoya isn't a hard hitter. That's where we don't really know, though, because Chaos is another one of these made out of steel guys. He's got a great chin. He's insanely durable. Some of the shots that he has eaten in his last couple fights, they'd put a lot of people away. So I don't know if Bedoya is a fast volume guy or if he actually has some power and it just didn't affect Chaos, because it never affects Chaos. You know what I mean? We'll find out. I would kind of lean towards maybe like a 2 and 3 round sprinkle. I think I
was just looking up that number on Bet
Let's
Online.
go. We're linking up here, Matty.
Right. The volume is going to accumulate, and round 2, 3 could be juicy here. Let me see.
And that's what Ian Gary did. Ian Gary just kind of stayed on him and kept on pestering him, and he folded. In the third round, he was backed up against the fence, and he just kind of flopped down to the floor after taking so many punches. I think the volume is what's going to get him. Even if he's not the hardest puncher in the division, I think he'll end up getting there in round 2 or round 3.
Yeah, and it hasn't aged as well now, because like Gary has a couple decisions now in the UFC. We saw it happen this past weekend. He couldn't put Neil Magny away, and like, I think this round 2 and 3 KO prop's going to have some nice value. Let me see if I can pull it up. So round 2's plus 650, round 3's plus 1,000. And again, those numbers will be a little bit higher on your US sports books once the numbers come out, usually like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, somewhere in that range.
I love it, man. I think we're on to something there with that one. So I've got him money line in a parlay. And for those of you wondering who he's parlayed with, I'll go ahead and spill the beans now, because we're not going to talk about it too much on this show. It's actually with Josephine Knutson, who is fighting on Dana White's Contender Series tomorrow night. Because on Contender Series, this is Khamzat's girl. This is the girl who is like the head prospect for Khamzat Chimaev, and she's being given an opportunity to shine on Dana White's Contender Series. There's not another like big minus 200 favorite-ish that I liked on Singapore. So I didn't want to really parlay him up with anybody else on this card, but I needed to have some action on him somewhere. That's how I got it down. The parlay comes out to minus 116, and I like it, man. 2-leg money line parlay. As long as Josephine gets her hand raised tomorrow, I'm rolling with Rolando at a much cheaper price tag into Saturday. That's the move. All right, everybody. Next up, we have got Chidi Njokuani taking on Michał Oleksiejczuk, the man they call Lord. And you guys know I've had a bit of a tumultuous relationship with Lord Michał. I've bet on him a couple times. I've bet against him a couple times. And lately I've been kind of zigging when I should have been zagging type of thing. I really liked when he dropped down to 185, Maddie. I think he was way too small at 205. The speed still seems to be intact at 185, but the knock on this kid is that always, every time, he just doesn't have a great gas tank. Like, he gets tired. He's so fast. He's so relentlessly aggressive. He just kind of charges forward recklessly and stands in the pocket, looks to be faster, and he's got those hands. They're so accurate. He can do damage early on. But if he doesn't get you out of there with that first blitz attack in like the first 2 minutes, he just slows down. And he gets hurt a lot. Like, you go back to the Dustin Jacoby fight. I'm really surprised Jacoby didn't find a way to finish in that fight. He had him hurt on multiple occasions throughout that one. And Lord was really struggling to hang around in that one. Chidi is on a 2-fight losing streak. And a lot of you may be wondering why I'm looking at maybe betting this guy off of a back-to-back bad showings. You know, he got KO'd by Hobocop, and then he went to a split against Duraev. But that fight with Duraev was close. Like, I was on Duraev that night, and that was a butthole pucker spot, man. I was very nervous about my bet going to the scorecards on that fight. So I think there's an argument to be made that he might have won that fight. And then before that, he iced Dusko Todorovic, and he iced Marc-Andre Barrios. Like, the power that Chidi possesses, it's wild, man, especially in the clinch. The knees, the elbows. He's got good range management, and he's really worked on that hole in his game that was his grappling defense. He can now handle these grapplers and then get back up to his feet, where we see him be able to have more success. I think the wrong guy's favored here, Maddie. I'll be honest with you. I like that the money so far has been coming in. It looks like on the Oleksiejczuk side of things, it was a pick 'em earlier on. Now Michał is down to a -120. You can get even money on Chidi, and I'm just being patient. I'm just waiting. I want to see where this number goes to, because the one thing we saw with Michał Oleksiejczuk was the last time he fought a big, long, rangy kicker, striker type of person, he really struggled. That was the time he fought Modestas Bukauskas. It was back in 2021. But Modestas is one of the most low-volume guys we've ever seen. I don't even know if he's truly UFC caliber. And Michał could not close the distance. That turned into a very low-volume, close, sketchy fight. Chidi has more offense. He's got more aggression. He's got more volume. And dare I say it, he hits harder than Modestas does. He also comes forward, whereas Modestas is always skipping side to side or moving backwards. Chidi is going to hunt. He's going to move forward and press the action. I actually think he's going to knock Michał out. I know usually we like to side with the younger fighters, but the lack of a gas tank, the questionable durability, and shit, Chidi's got a grappling advantage, man. He's a brown belt. If he wants to go to it, which he never does, but if he wants to, he can get on top of this guy. Am I crazy for thinking that the dog has a shot here?
I'm on the opposite side on this one.
I
actually really like Michał in this fight. I think both these guys are going to want to come forward, and I think that's going to eliminate some of the kicks out of Chidi. Like, I really like. I thought Michał would be like -150, -175 in this fight, in all honesty. Now he does have, I think it's 4 or 5 round one KOs in his UFC career. And I think that's what's going to happen in this fight. I think he's going to blitz him early and put him out on the feet. I really do. I actually think Chidi should use the grappling in this matchup. But this is actually one of my more confident plays on the card. I actually like the price point I think it's -120, -125. So that might be one where we have to exchange a bet openly ticket on.
Dude, I'm so down. We can definitely hit up Bet Openly on this one. And we're not at the point of the night where I bust out the sponsors, everybody. But Maddie's a big fan of Bet Openly, if you didn't know. And with peer-to-peer betting, 1% juice, this is the perfect opportunity to do it. Let me see what the number is on Bet Openly real quick for this fight. Here, I'll pull this up for you guys. We can look at it right now. So right now, Michał is a -120. The comeback is even money on Chidi and Njokuani. By the way, they added Dana White's Contender Series. So if you guys want to bet Dana White's Contender Series on here, there you go. All right, so
-110 +110.
Look at that. We can each get an extra 10 cents on this line using Bet Openly if we want to go head to head. You know what?
100
Let's
bucks,
see
200
here.
bucks?
So, yeah, what was that?
$100, $200.
Yeah, let's do it. We can do $100.
I'm putting it in right now. You're gonna see it on the live feed. I just put 110 to win 100, so you should see
All
it on
right,
the live feed right now.
Let me go look for it here.
You might have to refresh it.
Yep. Let's give it a second here. You guys are witnessing the beauty of Bet Openly in action right now. I think my filters are all fucked up. Let me search here. Chidi and Njokuani. See right there. Look at that.
There
$100
Yep.
wins back. 210. I'm gonna go ahead and look at this. This is the best part. I love this. The slider right here. You guys, you don't have to take all of it. If you only got $20 in your account and that's all you want to take of the action, you can. I'm taking the whole thing. This is mine. There we go. First head-to-head of the night. All right, we got action. I love it.
Let's go.
It. All right. We also have 173 live viewers. Thank you all so much for being here with us tonight, talking about UFC Singapore. Next up, we've got an interesting fight here. Toshiomi Kazama takes on Garrett Armfield. Folks, I know all the pronunciation Nazis in the chat this week are going to have a field day. A little grace. We just ask for a little grace. These names are not easy to pronounce this week. And a lot of them are relatively new, so we don't even have a whole lot of practice on pronouncing them. So apologies if I am brutalizing some of these names. But man, this is an interesting fight. You've got Kazama, who's a 10-3 prospect off of the road to UFC. Now, he's 1-2 in his last 3. Both of those losses coming by brutal knockout. He's a 26-year-old prospect with just reckless aggression, just absolutely reckless aggression. Comes forward, bites down on his right hand, swings for the fences, and just stands right in front of you, selling out for that body lock, selling out for that takedown. He's actually a much better grappler than he is a striker, and you wouldn't know his last couple fights. They've ended too quickly for you to see what he's really good at, but he's a BJJ brown belt. Good pressure, good pace, good cardio. He's got nice trips and dumps when he gets in on that body lock. He's got good top pressure. I mean, I actually like everything about this kid's game overall, but he's taking on Garrett Armfield. Now, this guy lost his UFC debut on short notice to David Onama. So that's something worth noting. People run that fight back. He was up a weight class. He was training at Kill Cliff FC. Apparently, he's left Kill Cliff FC at this point, I guess. Shout out my guy, James Lynch, for the UFC fighter interviews here. But I love Garrett Armfield's jab. Very nice jab. He's got decent wrestling, good submission defense. I mean, early against David Onama, he was having a hard time with this kid. And that's saying something, considering they were, 20 pounds apart on fight night. He was definitely punching above his weight class at that point. He's got really good eyes, Maddie. And I don't say that often, but what I mean by that is he saw everything coming his way. He is so slick with slips and counters because he can see what his opponents are coming with every single time. He did a real good job of body locking Onama and bullying him up against the cage, even being the smaller guy. Now, it drained his gas tank. He tired out. He ended up getting finished in the second, but he's not going to have that problem here. He's going to be the right size, the right weight class with a full training camp this time. And just generally speaking, I tend to favor American wrestling over Asian wrestling or Asian BJJ. Like, it just seems like the American system has it better at this current standpoint. So again, general, there are outliers, but I think the wrestling of Armfield is going to be just a little bit better than Kazama's wrestling. And then if you've got a BJJ guy on his back, you've got to rely on a sweep or a sub to get the win. And I'm not sure he can do that against Garrett. So I'm leaning with the favorite here, Garrett Armfield. What do you think, Manny?
My initial lean was on the dog here, but honestly, I think you've kind of sold me, or at least talked me out of it. What I like the most, maybe even as a parlay piece, is just the fight to not go the distance. I saw that at -200, and I do like that. Garrett's 7 of 8 wins are by finish, and 8 of 10 wins by finish for Kazama. Like, I think that makes the most sense here in this fight. But definitely good insight from you on the new weight class and new gym. And initially, my read was on the dog there, but I wasn't very confident whatsoever.
I hear you. I think it's not like a home run spot though, man. That's kind of my thing. Now, I'm hoping this line gets just a little bit better, and then maybe I will bet Armfield, but he's like a minus 170 right now. He's kind of floating in that range where I don't know if I want to trust him in a parlay because I do respect the submission offense of Kazama, but I still want to be on him. If he gets up any higher than minus 170, I don't really want to lay it. So I'm not sure how to approach this one just yet. I'm kind of still figuring it out.
Kazama by submission is sitting at plus 325. Probably be plus 400 on FanDuel.
That's not bad.
That's initially what I was looking at, but I don't know. I'll have to look a little bit heavier into that fight.
I would think that that's probably his best path to victory. So if you think he's going to win the fight, he's probably finishing. I don't mind that look. If you want to sprinkle the sub prop, that's probably the way to go.
For sure.
All right. Shout out to my guy here. We've got Gary with the $10 dono. I owe you purchasing a Trust Your Balls for me and my boy with the O'Malley win. There's a couple of different types of fabrics. Can you recommend one? We are thick. Gary, love to hear it. Thank you for the donation, my friend. I very much appreciate that. Thank you guys for supporting the show, by the way, and grabbing some podcast merch. So really the one that I like the best, I think on the Trust Your Balls shirt is like the standard setting for it, where you can see kind of the gray around the rim of the collar on the t-shirt there. It should come preloaded with the material. Where'd it go? I didn't actually, it's been a while since I've ordered on my own on my own site, so I do apologize. I think whatever it comes preloaded with on the shirt, though, that's the way to go. It's good material. It's nice and soft. They do fit a little bit snugly, so I would go bigger. You can go all the way up to 5XL on the site, man, so don't worry too much about being fluffy. That's not a problem. They can get you covered there with the larger sizes there on the site. So thank you so much for the support, my guy. Very much appreciate it. All right. Real quick, folks, before we move right along, we got to talk sponsors here for just a second. First up, Pub Sports Radio. That's where we're at. That's what's going on right now. You're listening to Pub. So smash the like button, sub if you haven't already, and get in here. We did a weekly UFC contest, free entry. All you got to do is sign up, and you can win $100 if you beat everybody else in this contest. Pick your fighter, pick your round, pick your method. Winner takes home $100. We've got a leaderboard, so it keeps track of everybody ongoing. And last week, the boss man for UFC 292, he put up $200 in the main event just for a little spicy meatball, just to get everybody some extra cash up there for a big pay-per-view. So you always want to be part of this. Free money, hard to say no. Next up, Spectation Sports. Now, Spectation Sports, unfortunately, there's not a lot coming up immediately. Next month, there's going to be a lot of really good action here, but you get regional shows on Spectation Sports. Promo code DIEHARD, 20% off of your subscription here. And I'll be honest with you guys, best platform for regional fights. Coming up on Dana White's Contender Series this week, my other bet, actually, which I probably should mention to you guys, we've got Robbie Ring. And if you did follow my advice, if you are using Spectation Sports, Robbie Ring's been fighting for Aries Fight Series, and we've seen him on his rise on Spectation Sports. So it's a great way to watch some of these smaller shows, see some of these up-and-coming prospects, and then it helps you out with your capping on Dana White's Contender Series because you've already got all the info. Next up, the Sharp app. Football season is right around the corner, folks. We've got hockey, we've got baseball, we got basketball. They have models, they have projections. There's a literal whale that literal's the wrong word. There's a whale that they tail. You get action with the Sharp app, and they tell you where the sharps are betting, where the public is betting. You can fade what the bookie needs, all types of articles, lots of information. Check out the Sharp app. They've got a Discord that will be in the description of this video as well if you want to sign up. And last but not least, it is Bet Openly. Now, we already kind of went through this, right? Me and Maddie went ahead and made a head-to-head bet right here for your entertainment. My guy Rafael with a chat says, can we play Bet Openly from Europe? And that's a great question. I have no idea what the jurisdiction of Europe looks like. Maddie, do you know? Are we in Europe?
Not in Europe. It's US, I think Canada. I'm 99% sure it's not in Europe, but I'm not positive.
Okay. I know we've got Canada, so I apologize if we're not in Europe, but I know we've got US and Canada. And the interesting thing is it's actually available in some of the places where like I've been talking to people who don't have access to like FanDuel and DraftKings, but they will have access to bet openly, just the way the laws work in different states and stuff like that. So you guys that are missing out on Dana White's Contender Series lines because you don't carry it, Bet Openly's got them. 1% juice. You're cutting out the middleman, which means everybody involved is getting. And Maddie just did on that fight we talked to you about. He's getting minus 110 instead of laying minus 120. I'm getting plus 110 instead of even money. And the best part, my favorite functionality on here, let me show you guys this. I was able to actually see, you can track how much money you have saved. Boom. Since starting with Bet Openly, I have saved $623.30 on the juice just by playing better numbers. Win or lose long term, this platform is going to save you money. It's the best tool for gamblers that we've seen in ever. So
Yeah,
get signed up.
Just to add off of that, another thing that's great is, it's peer-to-peer, right? So if someone doesn't take your bet on the other side, then you're not getting any action. But you can cancel your bet a few minutes before the fight and just put it in with the sports book if that does happen. And another thing I like about it is if you ever feel like you missed out on a fighter because the line went way up, like the money line, you can now go back to Bet Openly and get it close to what it was before all that money poured in on it. Like for example, if you wanted a guy at minus 180 and now on every sports book he's minus 200, you can usually go to Bet Openly and still get it at a reasonable number as long as someone fulfills it on the other side. So that's been a good tool for me when betting on favorites or underdogs, really.
Absolutely. It's a great way to use it. Recoup that lost value if you missed out on the number moving. All right, everybody. Those are the sponsors. You guys are the show. Thank you all for being here. If it wasn't for you guys tuning in, liking, subscribing, and paying attention, we wouldn't be doing this damn thing. So shout out to you guys first and foremost. Let's get back into it. Next fight up, we got Junior Tafa taking on Parker Porter. And my man, poor Porker, man. They're doing whatever they can to build prospects up off of this poor guy. He's going to be one of the few fighters that takes on a sibling combo, right? Like they already threw him to the elder brother, Justin Tafa, round 1 knockout. It was brutal. And now they're bringing Junior in, trying to see if he can do the same thing. It was pretty funny, man, because in Porter's last fight, they brought in the druggiest drugger who ever drugged in Braxton Smith. And I'm not going to lie, I bet on Braxton Smith that night because this guy was juiced to the gills, man. And I didn't expect him to have 30 seconds of cardio.
Yeah,
but when he hits, he like breaks faces when he connects.
Yeah.
They showed some of the slow-mo replays. Porker survived by like centimeters, man. Like those punches were like sliding across the jaw, just barely missing. We are writing a different story today for Parker Porter if one of those shots lands, because I guarantee you he would have not been able to take the damage. He's a bit chinny. He's 38 years old, and it's not fair to call people chinny in the heavyweight division. I understand that, but he's just not wearing the shots the way that he used to. He looked like he was in far better shape. His last fight, he did put some effort into making sure he was in better cardiovascular condition. He looks like he lost some weight, and I think that's going to benefit him if he keeps that up. He's another guy that's got a really intelligent jab. 90% of his weight is in those tree trunk thighs of his. He's got these big old thick legs. You do not want to be underneath him. He's actually a strong BJJ player. If he gets on top of you, you're kind of just dead because there's no getting up out from under him. And I don't know what to think of Junior Tafa, man. He's 4-1. Like, he just doesn't have enough fights to be in the UFC. I don't understand what we're doing here. Why did they sign this kid? Like, he might be in the UFC in 2 years, but give him the time to develop. They bring him in against Muhammad Usman, and it's apparent that the kid doesn't have an MMA game. He couldn't grapple. He couldn't get off the fence, and he got grinded on in the worst 15-minute decision we've ever seen. Everything he throws is big looping power hooks. if he connects with Parker, he's going to hurt him. He might knock him out. But it's also a spot where Parker can just use his jab and wrestle, and he might win another fight. Like, they might be killing off this prospect rather than building him because they're giving him a really tough matchup in his UFC debut. You've got Tafa, awful loss to Usman, coming in as a favorite against Parker Porter, minus 160. I can't justify that, man. It would be dog or pass for me, but I'm also not sure I'm ready to go to war with Parker Porter at plus 135. This is a complete stay away from me, man. What are you doing here?
Give me Parker Porter as the dog. I love this. I love this pick. Like you said, he's got to use the jab and he's got to mix in some wrestling. But we saw Muhammad Usman grind it out. I think Parker is going to have obviously better striking on the feet than Usman, and he can wrestle. And like you said, he's got them huge legs. He just needs to make this fight ugly and grind out a decision. I think he gets it done. I like the plus money here. I think this fight should be closer to a pick'em, and I like the plus money on Parker Porter. I want to see what the decision prop ends up at, because I might end up playing that. But what do you think about a late submission? Do you think that's live at all?
I was actually going to ask you that, man, because I do. I mean, Parker's got 4 wins by submission. Tafa's a kickboxer who doesn't know how to grapple. Just if he gets tired and if he gets dragged to the floor, it absolutely could happen. I mean, he hasn't subbed anybody, I don't think, at the UFC level, but those top position Kimuras, man, they're actually really easy to defend if you know what you're doing. And I just don't think Tafa knows what he's doing yet. So I don't mind that, man. A round 3 sub prop on Parker Porter. Look, MGM sometimes has like those exact sub outcomes, and the Kimura is going to be like 50-1.
Parker by submissions plus 375. But if you look at rounds 2 and 3, yeah, but that's a bullshit number on Bet Online. So again, that number might be a lot better. But if you look at rounds 2 and 3, that's where it gets interesting. Plus 1,300 round 2 submission, plus 1,600 round 3 submission. That would be wild.
I don't mind that at all. It's he's got a path to victory, man. That's what I'll say. And this one, again, I'm not making a bet. I'm not going hard. I'm not doing anything like that. But I don't even have a bet on it yet. It would be Parker if I was going to bet it. I think it's a better live entry, man, because if Parker gets like clipped with 1 or 2 big shots but doesn't die in round 1, you're probably getting like a 3-1 going into round 2. And then you avoid what is probably the biggest win probability for Tafa, would be a round 1 knockout, don't you think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm seeing Parker by decision at plus 450. So that might just be a weird thing on Bet Online, but the fact that him winning a decision pays more than a submission is pretty wild.
That's pretty wild, man. The fact that, I mean, they must know, secrets out. They're like, hey, it's pretty likely if he gets it to the ground, this kid may not be able to defend.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Everyone just be careful. These 5-1 prospects, you remember like Anj Lusa and, guys like Trayshawn Gore, like they get to the UFC too quick. They get here too early. And that might be what we have here in Tafa. I'm never trusting somebody in that spot at this kind of a chalky price tag. That's all. Just for me.
Yeah. Yeah. You got a good dog there. Dog or pass.
I hear you, man. I'm with you. All right. Shout out to my guy Fender Jazz saying I'm giving an exam right now, but I wanted to tune in and say hi live. Can't turn the sound on, but I'll watch the replay later. Fender, you absolute animal. Thank you for tuning in, even though you can't listen to the show. Special shout out to you, my guy. Love to see it. And then my guy Uncle Weezy showing up in the house. What's up, buddy? Thank you very much for being here, my guy. We've got Pokemon Trainer saying Tafa opening the main card, less travel for him, and his brother has the reads. Those are all facts. Pokemon Trainer, those are wonderful reasons to want to bet on the Tafa side. Like I said, I just can't trust a guy who's got 5 MMA fights against a guy who's got a severe grappling advantage. That's it. That's all for me. Like, good freaking luck if you're going after it on it. And we'll see what happens. All right, everybody. Next up, maybe the people's main event, Maddie. Maybe the one the Twitter world is, or I guess X sphere is most excited about here in this spot.
Definitely.
Erin Blanchfield takes on Taila Santos. And it's painful, Maddie. It's painful because I came into the show this week fully expecting to have a bet on Erin Blanchfield. I was geared up and ready to go. The bet was locked in. My finger was hovering over the button. And then I was like, you know what? I should probably research it first. I think I might bet Taila Santos after running the tape. And I know it sounds blasphemous to say that because Erin Blanchfield is the next coming. She's 24 years old. She is the future of this weight class. And while I'm not arguing with the fact that she's a future champion, and I think she's a very special talent and she's very athletically gifted, Taila Santos is a monster. We haven't seen her since she fought Valentina Shevchenko. And every time I bring this fight up, I have to shout out my guy Liam Picks Fights, because he was one of the only people that took the dog shot on Taila Santos. And he should have won that bet, man. Like, Taila was very clearly up 3-0 on Valentina Shevchenko.
I thought so too, yeah.
And somehow, some way, they scored it 3-2 for Val instead. So, rough decision, rough way to lose a giant underdog pick, but she mauled Valentina Shevchenko in that fight. The physicality difference was just shocking to me. Every time she got her to the ground, the transition to the back was clean. It was so easy. There was no stopping her. There was no slowing her down. She found her way to the back immediately, every single time. And we saw that's how you beat Shevchenko, right? Grasso managed to sink in a choke from there. She was a little quicker about it. I just think that there's going to be a struggle for 24-year-old Erin Blanchfield physically here. Guys, go back and rewatch the Jessica Andrade fight. That's her best win, okay? And Jessica Andrade has fallen off a cliff. Through her last couple fights, that win has aged like milk. It was fantastic the night she done it. It was amazing to see. But now we see what Jessica Andrade is these days. She's Bob Sapp. She'll fight for 3 minutes and then she quits. If she doesn't get you out of there early, she doesn't care. They just scheduled her for another fight because she's trying to fight as many times as she possibly can before the end of the year. I do actually believe all of you guys that had the conspiracy theory that she was trying to make as much money as she can. She's going to retire and hang it up. I believe you now, like the way she's been fighting. I think you're right. So that's Blanchfield's best win. Before that, choking out Molly McCann means nothing. Molly's nowhere near this level. JJ Aldrich before that, folks, she was losing to JJ Aldrich, and she was struggling with the grappling of JJ Aldrich. If you are struggling to take down Jessica Andrade, who's been exposed, and you're struggling in the wrestling department against JJ Aldrich, Taila Santos is going to massacre you. And I think we're getting a recency bias line. Everyone's ready to buy in. Everyone's ready to crown Erin Blanchfield the next queen of this weight class. And I just think it's too early, Maddie. I know we haven't seen Taila Santos in a year, but at 30 years old, she's in her prime. And she's only got 2 losses by decision. The first one was by split. And the second one was by split that very clearly should have gone her way against the current champion at the time. I kind of think the line is backwards. I think I have to bet Santos in some way, shape, or form in this fight, man.
Yeah, I'm struggling with this one. So I took Erin Blanchfield round 2 submission over Jessica Andrade. So I got a nice payout on that. And I feel like I'm almost biased on her now. But I'm really struggling with this one because I really believe in Erin Blanchfield. I think she's really good and has a really good future. But you make a lot of valid points. You know, just the experience. Now she did take down Miranda Maverick 7 times. You know, I know she struggled to take down JJ Aldrich. She subbed Molly McCann early in that first round. But Santos hasn't been finished or subbed in the UFC. So this is a tough fight. The striking might be challenging on the feet. What's the number on this?
So it's minus 140, I think, on Blanchfield, plus 120 on Santos is what it looks like. Yeah,
that's a tough number. You know, I think if it's a pick'em, it's easier to go with Blanchfield, but that's a tough number. I'm torn on this one, completely torn. I need to, I think, watch some more footage throughout the week and also take a look at some of the different exact outcome props. But this is a fight you just have to find the value and like put your opinion aside on who's going to win, you know?
I agree. And that's why, man, and here's the thing, like everyone and their mother's on Blanchfield. Like the line is minus 140 and everyone is on Blanchfield. I mean, to me, that's the kind of thing, you know, last week I got caught, man. Karina Silva, she was a short favorite. All of us were hammering Moreau's. Didn't matter. Yeah, the line didn't move. Bookies were fine. They were like, hey, keep betting this plus number. We'll leave it right there for you. That's kind of what I'm feeling in this spot, man. And
what would you make the number on Valentina versus Blanchfield?
Oh, see, I think the thing is, Erin is her striking is improving, and that's actually what she used to beat Andrade more so than her grappling. I know she finished with a submission, but the way she opened it up was being the cleaner striker. But Val is still the better striker than Erin Blanchfield is at this point. So I actually think you've got to make Val like a minus 180 in that spot. I don't think Erin's ready yet. I think she's going to get there. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a tough fight for sure.
And like I said, I think this line is backwards. I think we should have minus 140, minus 150 on Taila Santos. And then if you want to talk about taking Blanchfield as a dog, saying she'll rise to the occasion, I'm fine with that. I'm good with that. I just can't lay chalk on her. You know what I mean? And I think I almost have to bet the other side because I'm getting plus money when I don't think I should. It's a close fight. I expect it to be competitive. And Blanchfield might actually have the striking advantage here in this spot. But the strength, the power, the grappling, all of that is on Santos's side. And so far, no one's been able to overcome that. Even people who are better strikers can't keep her off of them. So if this thing hits the ground, I think Santos is going to grind out at least 2 rounds.
The fight to go the distance is minus 275.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if anybody's finishing Blanchfield anytime soon, but I'd have to go back and see. Has she really been audited, though, with her defensive grappling? Because the sub is going to be there for Santos. I just don't know how slick Erin is defensively speaking.
Yeah, so Santos by submission plus 1,200.
I'm going to have to, Maddie. I'm sorry. That's the kind of number that just gets you there. Maybe it's Santos by decision because Blanchfield can survive, but
you ready for this? Hold on. You ready for this? Round 2 submission plus 3,500. Round 3 plus 4,500.
Now you're speaking my language, Maddie. Now, I'm absolutely going to have a taste of some of that. That's happening. Shout out my guy MMA Jesus in the chat. He's saying, nope, Erin's going to be the next champ. I know it's coming. It might be too early, man. It might be too early. We'll see. All right, I'm definitely going to have
Erin has one loss. Do you know what her one loss is in MMA?
Blanchfield's?
Yeah.
No, I don't remember off the top of my head. What is it?
I'm looking now because I'm curious.
Oh, Tracy Cortez. Okay. Back in Invicta, who was a very strong grappler.
Let's take a look. Yeah, it was a decision.
Yeah. I mean, that's what got her last time was a strong grappler, man. I'm going to have to bet Taila. It's happening. Some way, shape, or form, I will be on Taila. And thanks to you, those sub-round props, I'm probably going to have to sprinkle just a little bit.
I mean, those are big numbers.
Those are big numbers. And shout out to the chat because you guys absolutely nailed it. I am out of order, everybody. We got to go back in time. Jump in your time machine because I forgot about Waldo Cortes-Acosta. So we did skip that fight. We're going to go ahead and hit it now. This is out of order from what it's going to be on Fight Night, obviously, but we got to talk about it. So we've got Waldo Cortes-Acosta, and he is taking on Lukasz Brzeski up next. Man, I'm so disappointed because very much like what I just talked about with Blanchfield and Santos, man, I had the exact same setup for this fight. I came in ready to tell you, we're going crazy. Grab the tinfoil hat. It's Lukasz Brzeski season, baby, because I want to fade the ever-loving crap out of Waldo Cortes-Acosta. Everybody's enamored with this guy. He sucks. He is not good. You've got Brzeski, who's a plus 210, plus 220 favorite right now. Cortes-Acosta is minus 260. It just makes no sense. Waldo Cortes-Acosta is a big guy with a really nice jab. I will give him all the flowers in the world for his beautiful jab because he works well behind it and it's a wonderful weapon. but he's a boxer. That's it. He can't check leg kicks. He got taken down in his last fight on repeat by a guy who, by the way, all of you were convinced was going to beat Derek the Black Beast Lewis. Get out of here, you bums. Marcos Rogerio de Lima ate this guy's leg up in that fight. And for what, God knows what reason, stopped doing it. I couldn't tell you why that man went away from the leg kicks. He could have standing TKO'd this guy if he just kept hammering. And then he gets him taken down multiple times. Folks, if you're getting taken down and laid on by Marcos Rogerio de Lima, you probably don't belong in the UFC. So this guy has no grappling. He's got no wrestling. He's got no kicking. He doesn't know how to check kicks either. He's just a boxer. And I'm like, Lucas Brzeski is right there for me, baby. He's right there. But he's on an 0-2 run. You know, that split decision with Martin Buday might have been a robbery. That was actually pretty
cool. He outstruck him like almost 2-1.
Yep. And I'm like, ooh, okay. You run back the Carl Williams fight. Carl took him down 8 times. Like, he just had no answer for the counter grappling. Like, he couldn't stop a takedown, but he got back up. In round 3, Carl Williams was huffing and puffing, and he was coming forward, swinging heavy. He's looking for a way to finish the fight. And I'm like, damn, he's tired, but he's going for it. But then I went back and I watched some of his other recent fights, man, and I thought he was swinging crazy like that because he was exhausted from the wrestling of Carl Williams. No, that's just how this guy strikes. He's not a good striker. Every single thing he throws is looping and winging, and he overextends and he gets himself off balance. And then even like on the Contender Series when he beat Dylan Potter, which overturned to a no contest because of PEDs, by the way, and then he looked like the flabbiest boy you've ever seen in his UFC debut because of that PED suspension, which, by the way, I got death threats from people who are fans of this guy on Instagram because I picked against him. Poland loves Lucas Brzeski, and by the way, it's nothing personal, folks, but like facts are facts. He was a brick shithouse, and then he got popped for performance-enhancing drugs and looked like a bag of milk in his UFC debut. I'm sorry. It's not my fault. It's USADA's fault. But Dylan Potter isn't even in the right weight class. Like, Dylan Potter is a guy who is fighting at heavyweight and is like a 185er, and Brzeski couldn't knock him out. He got tired. Like, Potter got tired, and that's why he lost that fight. Brzeski can kind of wrestle. If he can get this guy down, then I think he can win, but he couldn't take down Dylan Potter. Brzeski can strike. He's got high volume, but he's so sloppy. And the jab is going to get there before any one of those looping punches every single time. And the guy couldn't get someone like Dylan Potter out of there with strikes. And he went to war with a guy like Martin Buday. He can kick the calf, but he doesn't do it a lot. So is he going to go with that hard, heavy leg kicking game plan and really show out when he can? I don't know if I can trust him to do that, Maddie. Like, I want to bet Brzeski so badly. All the pieces are there, but I can't trust this guy to put a full game plan together. So betting wise, it's dog or pass. I kind of want to see what he looks like at weigh-ins. You know, I did my stalking on Instagram. Brzeski looks like he's in much, much better shape coming into this fight. And I think that makes a big deal because if he got a new doctor and if he got his cycle sorted out, he might hit like a truck again. You go back to his fights before the Contender Series, and he's got a bunch of knockouts on his record. If he's that guy coming in here, maybe he's got a shot. So dog or pass for me.
Yeah, I agree with you. Dog or pass. I'm leading Brzeski. I mean, he's got to like that Cortes-Acosta has a 0% takedown accuracy. I don't know if that's because he's never attempted a takedown or not, but coming off of being taken down 8 times against Carl Williams, he's got to like that. I think all the values on the plus money here on the dog. I did see the fight. Now, one thing about Cortes-Acosta is he is durable. He hasn't been finished. The fight to go the distance is like -105. I'm trying to figure out why I wouldn't take that.
No, that's the move. Not why wouldn't you take it? That is the move.
Yeah, I'm like trying to find a reason why
fight goes the distance.
Fight goes the distance. Let me double check that. That's what I have written down, but that's what I'm seeing early in the week. You know, we'll see what it is on all the US books, but I'm like blown away by it. It doesn't make any sense.
That's wild. That is absolutely wild. Yeah, man. Because I mean, the one thing we've seen from what I'm sorry, I'm completely blanking on his name now. Waldo. The one thing we've seen from Waldo is he's tough. dude is tough. Like, he will take a shit kicking and keep moving forward. So I do think we probably see an over here.
So I misspoke, but over 2.5 is -125. But that's a
I don't
yeah.
mind
So that
at
probably
all.
means the fight to go the distance is -105 then. So you could take that either way. You could go over 2.5, pay a little more in juice, or just take the fight to go the distance at -105.
That's probably the move, man. Crappy fight. Might go to a split, which, by the way, the split prop might be juicy on this one. But over, don't pick a side, and that's probably the best way to do it, man. I like that. Let's not pick a side. Let's play a total on this one. Let's go over.
Yeah.
All right. Now we're back on track. We're on course. We're talking about the right fight. We've got 200 live viewers. Everybody smash the like button. Check out my guy, Matty Betts. This one next is Rinya Nakamura taking on Fernie Garcia. And damn, man, I think we might be able to save a little bit of time on this one. Like, Rinya Nakamura was the star of Road to UFC. This is the guy that they found. Like, when they were looking for that hidden gem on the show, they found him. It's this guy. Like, he's got a strong wrestling background. And remember earlier when I said USA wrestling over Japanese wrestling or Asian wrestling? Not this guy. This is the wrestler who you want. And he's a murderous power puncher, Maddie. He's got ridiculous explosivity because of that wrestling ability. He's fallen in love with his hands a little bit. He gets a little reckless. He comes wild after his opponents, but he seems like he's pretty damn durable. He's eaten a couple of big shots looking for the knockout and just keeps swinging forward. I don't know what his gas tank looks like after about a round and a half because he goes so hard, but it seems like he just breaks people before we even get close to that. I don't know if someone's going to be able to survive and drag him deep and then turn the tables. He can probably fall back on the grappling at that point and then like catch a second wind if that happens. I mean, Asian Bo Nickel, here we come. Like, that's what we're looking for with this kid. He's going to have a 1-inch reach advantage, and he's taking on Fernie Garcia, who's 10-3, 0-2 so far here in the UFC, and kind of seemed like he might have overperformed just a little bit in his last fight. I know he lost, but he still had a really good showing against Brady Heastand. Brady looked like he was in trouble a couple times in that fight. Fernie's got a big right hand, and I kind of put him in the Sam Alvey category, man. He's got good power. He can do everything well enough, good enough get-up game, good enough counter grappling, but he just lacks that sense of urgency. He doesn't have enough volume. He doesn't swing enough. When he lands, he can land. But if he misses one or two of those power shots, there's just not enough volume for him to win like minutes. He really relies on like stealing the big moments or dropping somebody or getting a finish for him to actually get his hand raised. I don't think he hits hard enough to crack Nakamura. And I don't think he can survive with the grappling of Nakamura if he chooses to go that route with it. So I got to side with the -700 favorite here, Maddie. Shoot me. I'm sorry. I can't. What am I going to do? I'll pick the -700 guy.
Yeah, no. You know what's interesting in this fight is, do you think Nakamura is going to wrestle early in this fight? Because the power on the feet in his last fight was impressive. That knockout was electric. And like now it's like, is he going to fall in love with that, or is he going to wrestle when he has a huge grappling advantage? So like the submission prop, just think of it this way: you get a -700 guy on a submission at +450. You know, so that to me is extremely interesting. But then again, it is scary because you're like, oh, is this guy going to fall in love with his hands after 2 straight knockout wins in the first round? We see it all the time in the UFC. So I don't know, but to me, the value's on the sub prop. I think the knockout props, the knockout props -135, and then you get the submission at +450. I mean, to me, that's where the value is.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. That is a great call, in my opinion, in this spot. Anytime, it's like what we did with literally with Bo Nickel. You know, we took the KO prop at +200 instead of Liang -350 for the inside the distance, or everybody was on the sub, obviously, at like -120. You play the plus number because it kind of comes down to this guy. How does he want to win? Because he can win any way he wants to, but play the better number. I like that, Maddie. I like that look, because the other thing is Fernie's got a chin on him. Like this guy is tough. So if he doesn't just roll over and die, I think he's going to have to fall back on the grappling. I think Nakamura, not that he has to grapple, but I think he's going to maybe realize he needs to. You know what I mean? And then
Mhm.
once you find yourself on the ground, yeah, he probably works himself to a top dominant position, hits an arm triangle instead of being able to pound a guy out who's got a really good chin.
Yeah, and Garcia hasn't been subbed or KO'd in what 13 fights. So
Yeah.
if you the other option is you go the decision route, and that's plus 400 on him on Nakamura.
Yeah. I don't mind either of those. I would lean towards the sub more than the decision, personally speaking. But honestly, I feel like you could justify either one.
Mhm.
You got to get tricky with these big old favorite folks. Be
Yeah,
careful on this
for sure.
card. I want to just express that this is a hot, burning dumpster fire this week. So everybody just be careful on any of these spots. I wouldn't suggest going too heavy on much of anything this week because nobody is really trustworthy. There's some value to be had, but you guys know how value goes. Last week I had Wiley Zhang sub at plus 400. Nope. Could have
Same.
cashed it a million times. Did it happen?
That was
No, it did
the
not.
most frustrating thing ever, bro. That was the most
Oh my
frustrating
God.
fight of the entire night. I had her inside the distance. I had rounds 1 through 3 submission. I'm just like, damn, she's literally has this fight on the ground the entire night, and I still can't hit it.
Dude, and even when she threw the towel and was like, fine, I'll just elbow her to death. Like, she still didn't get the finish. Like, it was
Even the
insane.
round
So,
5 when I had the inside the distance bet, that round 5, she pops her, puts her down on the feet. Like, how do you
yep.
not finish that? I was
Can't
so
believe it.
frustrated, bro.
Can't believe it. All right. Next fight up, we've got Giga Chikadze making his return here against Alex Bruce Leroy Caceres. And man, this one is so confusing to me. So I'm going to go ahead and just let you guys know I've had a tough time with Bruce Leroy. I cannot get this guy right. There's just every once in a while, there's that fighter, Maddie, where you just can't seem to link up. You zig when you should zag, and you're just always wrong. And that's kind of where I'm at here with Leroy. I've been trying to fade him. I bet on Daniel Pineda against this guy because of like his grappling
So did
submission
I.
weakness.
Yep.
It's been a thing that we've seen over the course of his career. But my God, he's worked so hard on his grappling. He actually is a really incredible grappler now. And he did crazy things like take the back of Daniel Pineda in scrambles in that fight. Like, I can't say that he's a bad grappler anymore. Like, this guy is solid everywhere. Alex Caceres is a long, lanky, flowing striker. He's got good footwork. And even though he's got no power, you know, he got just the perfect shot on Juicy J. Julian Erosa knocked his head off. Now, Juicy J's chinny, so everybody, little asterisk next to that one because a tough gust of wind can knock out Julian Erosa, so don't read too far into it. He's not a power striker. He never has been. He's a volume guy, but he's got a brick head. We've seen some of the shots that Alex Caceres has taken and survived and come back from. It's quite frankly phenomenal. Giga Chikadze, he's fresh off of a year-long layoff, 34 years old. He got the brakes beaten off of him by Calvin Kattar in his last fight where he just couldn't find his way forward, man. Like, he was on the back foot the entire fight and actually did pretty well with it. Like, he landed a lot of shots. He was countering well. You can't move backwards against Calvin Kattar. Now, obviously, a lot of times you can't move forward against Calvin Kattar either. Obviously, I'm saying that from the bench over here, but that you're not going to win moving backwards against that guy. Didn't work out for him. Took a year off. I've never really had a great read on Giga either. I kind of thought he was a myth. Kind of thought he was a little overhyped. Felt vindicated when I finally cashed a ticket on Calvin Kattar against him. But this is a big step down in competition. I really don't know what to make of this matchup. I think we could have a very clean 15-minute kickboxing fight where neither of these guys are really overly interested in grappling. And if that happens, I expect it to be competitive. But I also think Giga's the slightly better striker, and he's got more power. So I kind of lean towards Giga. Just not a big fan of this number around the minus 240 mark. What do you make of this fight, man? Maybe you can help me out.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't like the number either. And he hasn't fought since it was that Calvin Kattar fight was January 2022. So that's a
Yeah.
legit year and a half. I mean, that's a lot of time off. So I don't know. I haven't really paid attention to him. You know, a year and a half layoff. I mean, he did take a lot of damage in that Calvin Kattar fight. I tend to lead Alex Caceres here at the plus money. Honestly, I think he's a decent dog here. There's just a lot of unknowns of there's just a lot of unknowns here, and I like the plus money, but I think it is. I think it's going to be an interesting fight. I think it could go the distance as well. I'm going to see what that number is.
Okay.
if I can find it. Over 2.5 is -205, of course.
Oof. Yeah, I mean, again, I kind of expect a competitive kickboxing match. Both guys are tough. Both guys are durable. I have a hard time seeing anybody getting finished here. I know whenever we say that, it's a death sentence because somebody comes out and grabs a neck immediately. Anytime we say I can't see somebody getting finished, somebody gets finished in the first round. But man, unless it's a Caceres sub, I just kind of don't see it. And I'm not sure he can get to the ground.
Right. And this is just like the Pedro Munoz Cheeto fight. Like neither guy's been knocked out.
Yeah.
Right. But there has been a submission though. So maybe Caceres could find that submission.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe so. Hey, God bless you. Good luck if you guys take the plunge on Caceres. I can't do it. So I was talking with my guy UFC Bro Picks, Justin. If any of you know him on Twitter, he's having a hell of a year. He's doing phenomenally this year. And he's on Caceres in this spot. And the way I told him, I was like, look, bro, if you've been riding a cash cow, if you've been on a guy for 3-4 fights, why stop? You're getting a great number and you've had a right read and you've been on him. Ride until you die. Like, there's no reason to jump off the train. Somebody like me who's been on the wrong side of Caceres, there's no need for me to get on now because guaranteed, if I put money on Caceres this weekend, he's losing.
That's how I feel about Erin Blanchfield, bro. I've been riding her and I'm just like, it's so tough not to take her, but I hate the number.
If you're late to the party, sometimes you just got to let that train pass on by, man. Like my grandpa used to always said that he said it talking about girls when I got dumped in high school. You know, heartbroken little Clint talked to grandpa one day and he said, Clint, girls are like Greyhound buses. If you miss one, another will be along in 5 minutes. And that's, I think it's appropriate for betting because if there's a spot that you missed gambling, don't push it. Don't push it. There's fights next week. We'll be okay. We'll be all right. All right. What's up, Jacqueline? Hanging out in the chat. Good to see you. Thanks for swinging by. Our guy Mushroom was asking about Dana White's Contender Series picks. I've got 2 bets, Mushroom, and I will share those with you, but I don't have like in-depth breakdowns or anything like that for you. So at the end of the show, I can definitely let you know what those are, but I don't think we're going super deep into the PFL or the Dana White's Contender Series. Although I do think the PFL card is a banger this week, so I'm gonna look into it. Next up, Anthony Smith takes on Ryan Superman Spann. The rematch that nobody asked for, Maddie. What is this? What are we doing? Okay. I went back and I looked through my bets because I was like, I don't remember who I bet on this one. And that's rare. You know, usually you've got the thrill of victory or it stings because you got the bad beat. Like, I should know who I bet in this fight. I don't think I bet this fight. I think I passed. So that makes a whole lot of sense to me. It's a close line. It's a little shorter than it was last time, but they kind of came back with the same energy here. Ryan Spann's a -130 favorite, +110 on Anthony Smith. And so Ryan Spann is a guy who I've gone to war with a couple times. I've made some money on Ryan Spann. We called the guillotine choke over Ion Cutelaba. We hit the big sub play there. Like, there's been some good times with Spann. But I think people are maybe disrespecting Anthony Smith here just a little bit. Spann has no durability to speak of anymore. Like, even just rerun the first fight with these two guys. Anthony Smith is not a knockout artist. He's a club and sub guy. He's an outlast you guy. He's a I'm more durable than you and I'll finish you late type of guy. He doesn't knock anybody out. And he had Ryan Spann wobbling around like a newborn baby giraffe in the first round. Like, you just barely tap this guy's jaw and he falls apart completely. He's massive for 205 and he's one of the least durable fighters in the division. It makes no sense. I don't understand it. Johnny Walker might be the only other fighter chinnier than Ryan Spann at 205. He's a round 1 monster though. If Ryan Spann connects with anything, you're dead. Like, this guy can finish anybody early. But Anthony Smith is the better grappler. He's the better jiu-jitsu player. And Ryan Spann actually has more chokes than he has knockouts. That guillotine choke is his thing. So if he can be out-scrambled and outlasted by Smith, he's losing. And on the feet, yes, maybe Ryan Spann lands first And Anthony Smith, with his 57 professional fights, maybe his body is just too broken at this point. Maybe he's just not capable of taking the punishment anymore. And that's how Spann wins this fight. But if he doesn't, Anthony Smith is the cleaner striker. And believe it or not, he's the more durable of the two. So this is a really weird fight. And I think we can bet on violence. If they give us a 1.5 that's anyway halfway decent, I would take a look at that. But Spann wins or loses. What's that?
Minus 170 on the 1.5 on the under.
Yeah, that's
not bad,
a little pricier. Little pricier than I would like it to be. But I mean, man, Anthony Smith has fought the higher level of competition. I actually think he's been the higher level fighter, just period in general, for the most part in his life.
Mm-hmm.
And the weakness of Spann, that chin, I can't get around it. I would be forced to bet on Anthony Smith in this fight, but it's another one where I just everybody's so sold. Everybody is so sold on Spann in this fight. Just be careful, guys. Just be careful. This guy it can all go away in an instant if this guy gets his chin tapped. So be careful. What do you like on this fight, Matty?
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at this fight is both these guys are two different fighters than the first fight, right? Like Anthony Smith, I feel, is not as good as he used to be. He's starting to fade. And then I think Ryan Spann, since 2021, has taken his career more seriously and his conditioning more seriously. So I think the price makes sense. You know, when I initially looked at it, I was like, okay, this could be like a pick 'em. You know, maybe Spann will be a small underdog. But looking deeper into it, you're like, okay, Ryan Spann at minus 130 kind of makes sense here. I think Ryan Spann's going to come out and knock out Anthony Smith in the first round. I really do. I think, you know, the Anthony Smith, Anthony Smith, Johnny Walker, that was such a weird fight that went to decision. I feel like everyone lost their ass betting on that fight, and Vegas made a killing with that one going the distance. I remember watching that fight here in Delray Beach. I was at the sandbar watching that fight, and I was so pissed. Like, I think I had Johnny Walker by KO or something in that fight. But no, I think, and Anthony Smith almost finished Krylov too. He almost got that sub early in round 1, and then, you know, he ended up getting submitted himself. But I do think that Ryan Spann rather. But I do think Ryan Spann can get this done in the first round.
Okay.
I wouldn't play his money line. I think the value's on his round 1 prop.
Yeah, that's the thing is I have a real hard time seeing this thing go beyond 2 rounds, one way or the other. So I know that dooms us. Anytime someone says that, it's going to the cards immediately. But I think this is going to be a fight that finishes. And really the only way it doesn't is the tried and true method of beating Anthony Smith is to wrestle him and then just sit on top of him. If you just like sit on his chest, he plays off his back a little too much and can't get out of there. But I don't think Spann's got the cardio for that. I don't think he can manage that game plan. He can take him down. He could get on top of him. I just don't think he can stay there for 15 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, and Spann has that guillotine, but like Smith doesn't really get submitted. I think it's been like a decade. So, I mean, the round 1 KO prop for Spann is I'm seeing it at plus 375. So I think that's a solid number.
Okay. Hey, Godspeed. I think that's the way to go. If Anthony Smith is in fact a broken man at this point, then that's probably how it goes. If he's not, though, I think somebody's getting knocked out. What's the knockout prop on Smith? What if we reverse this bad boy and say Smith gets the KO?
For the fight or for round 1?
Give me both. Why not? What are our numbers looking at?
Yeah, let's take a look. Smith by KO is plus 390 for the fight.
That's not bad.
Yeah, and then Smith in round 1 KO plus 750. I mean, maybe you look at an Anthony Smith round 2, round 3 submission, though.
Yeah, maybe. We've seen that work. Spann has that quitting him a little bit. You know, he's been broken
plus
before.
1,200, plus 1,200, plus 2,000, rounds 2, 3.
So the thing for me, though, is that I really can't wait, folks. I know a lot of people feel like I weigh a little heavier on like the fighter interviews and stuff like that, maybe more than I should. But I think the mental state of these fighters is a massive deal. We'd be remiss if we didn't talk about like Anthony Smith potentially having like true PTSD at this point in his life. You know, the Johnny Walker fight in round 3, he was like screaming at him, "Why are you attacking my family?" And they clipped it. Johnny Walker's like, what? Like, he's like so confused in the middle of the fight because Smith is like asking him why he's attacking his family. Like, that's concerning.
Has he
That's very
answered? Has he
concerning.
answered why he said that in an interview since then? Because I haven't seen anything.
Not that I know of. I think that's gone like completely just like, let's forget it happened type of
Yeah,
situation.
they're like
So,
throwing it under the rug and never happened.
exactly. I worry a little bit about that. And that's why I want to hear where his interviews are. But honestly, guys, like if we get chip on his shoulder Anthony Smith, if he's like, I can't believe they're making me fight this guy again, and I'm going to show everybody, the first fight wasn't emphatic enough, obviously, I'm going to make it better the second. You know what I mean? Like if he comes out with a chip on his shoulder and with an attitude like that, I think he probably looks to finish him the other way. You know what I mean? He choked him out last time. He had him wobbled and hurt in the first round, and it was just a matter of he didn't follow up on the punches. I think he goes for the KO this time and gets the double finish there. But if he doesn't have that kind of attitude, if he has more of like a, I don't know, just kind of like a level or like a meek type of response, or like if he's okay with fighting this level of opponent, or, I just kind of need to have a good performance. Like that's when we know it's time to step on the throat. That's when we know he's done. That's when we know we can, look the other way, and I'll be looking at the span side instead.
Yeah. He does have to have some confidence knowing that he just finished this guy 2 years ago. So it's something you have to consider as well.
Absolutely. Mental game plays a lot on this fight for me, folks. It all comes down to how Smith is coming, how Smith is coming in prepared for this fight. Yeah. My guy Dixon, I didn't miss you. I did see. He said exact same spot, Silver Moreau's last week. Revenge rematch, span inside the distance. Hey, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. Obviously, if the UFC had their way, the consummate contender that always disappoints, Anthony Smith, is not the guy they want to win this fight on a big stage. They would like if the younger, more explosive fighter could get over that hump and make his way up the rankings. So I do think that's kind of the idea, is to let Ryan Spann get a little back on track here in this spot, but I just can't trust that chin, man. All right. Good luck to everybody. If you're going to go ahead and put your money on that one, good freaking luck. Main event time, everybody. We got Max Holloway taking on the Korean zombie Chan Sung Jung. And I hate when this happens, Maddie, because we can save some time here. Like, what are they doing? What is this matchmaking? It makes zero sense. Like, they're trying to get Chan Sung Jung a main event because of where this fight is taking place. I get it. The dude's a legend. I love him. But at 36 years old, he seems like he's fallen off a cliff. Like he's 2-2 in his last 4, but he's lost to Ortega. He lost to Volkanovski, brutally lost to Volkanovski. He did manage to get a win over.
I was at that fight.
Oh, were you?
I was sweating it because I had Volk inside the distance and I wasn't sure. Herb Dean gave him that standing TKO where it was a little questionable. I mean, don't get me wrong, he was getting his ass whooped, but he was still on his feet, like surviving. So I was so pumped when he stopped that fight.
Dude, no, good call. Glad you got out of there alive on that one, because damn, like I could absolutely. That was kind of the beginning of the Volkanovski knockout streak, right? Like that was when he was still the decision-nator. So nobody was sure he was going to go for the throat at that point. He finally did. Good on you for cashing it. But like, the only man in this weight class since 2011 to beat Max Holloway, not named Volkanovski, there isn't one. Conor McGregor was the last guy to do it. You do not beat Volkanovski, or I'm sorry, you do not beat Max Holloway at 145 pounds. You just don't.
Yeah.
Like, he's still somehow only 31 years old. He's been around forever, and he's not even taken a bunch of damage in his recent fights. He's pacing people. He's being smarter. He's being more intelligent. He's picking people apart. Like, there's a chance Chan Sung Jung lands a bomb early in this fight, but if that's not what's happening, there's no way he survives 25 minutes with Max Holloway. This is a classic Max 3-4-5 KO sprinkle spot where I think he just beats Chan Sung Jung until the point that he's ready to fall over.
Yeah. I'm pulling up those numbers now because I just want to see what they are. But no, I mean,
it's like an 8-1 favorite. It's not even going to be good.
It's crazy. Yeah. And it's like the worst matchup possible for him, for the Korean Zombie.
It really
like
is.
It's like you would think, like you said, he could be live in that first couple rounds, but it's Max Holloway's chin. Like, it's just the worst matchup for him. He's not really even live to get a KO on the feet against that chin. He's just going to get pieced up for 5 rounds or maybe less. So it is a tough matchup. Let me see these late round props. So Max Holloway round 3 plus 700. These are the KO props, by the way. Round 3 plus 700, round 4 plus 800, round 5 plus 900. Those aren't even huge numbers for an exact round in a 5-round fight. The books know what's going to happen here.
Yeah.
Usually those are double digits, right? Those are usually double-digit payouts on those rounds 3, 4, 5 KOs on most fights.
For sure. It's kind of hard not to know at this point. You know what I mean? Like this is an aging veteran who's showing signs of being chinny. Just fought a guy very similar to Max Holloway and Volkanovski who puts a pace on people, and he couldn't hang, and he got cracked late. And he's getting an almost identical matchup here, except the guy's taller and longer.
Yeah. Here's a crazy one for you. Korean Zombie by submission plus 1600.
Wow. Yeah, I can't. I
know. But I will say I prefer that over his KO prop though. That's how much I trust Max's chin. So because he's not winning the decision. If you're gonna bet Korean Zombie, how are you gonna bet him against Max?
I see that's the thing though. I just can't, man. Like Max has only been finished once. He was subbed one time way back at the beginning of time when he fought Dustin Poirier. Back in 2012. That's the only time this guy has ever been finished. I'm sorry. Until Max starts showing signs of cracking, I can't bet anybody to finish him anyway. KO or sub, not a chance. He just took bullets from Arnold Allen. That didn't even bother him. This guy is fine. Right.
Korean Zombie submitted Poirier back in 2012.
Complete the triangle. Maybe Max submits the Korean Zombie.
Well, no, it is a crazy matchup for the main event.
It's tough, man. It's tough. I mean, I think we're all on board. The minus 800 Max Holloway probably rolls here in this spot. They sacrificed the Korean Zombie at home in front of his home crowd, unfortunately, as the UFC is known to do. But that's UFC Singapore, folks. I hope you enjoyed the breakdowns. I hope you got something out of it here. Maddie, if you have anything you want to shout out, if you want to let the people know if you've got content going or whatever, let them know where they can find you and support you.
Yeah, just Maddie Bets pretty much everywhere. MATTYBETSS. Twitter, TikTok, IG, YouTube, and Facebook.
There you go. That's what we're talking about. I can't wait to see how our little head-to-head on Bet Openly goes this week, man. Yeah. That's going to be fun. Thank you for joining me to break down the show. Everybody hit the like button on your way out if you haven't done it yet. We would very much appreciate it. That's the easiest and cheapest way that you can support the show here for us, is at least just let the algorithm know you enjoyed the free content. As always, make sure you kick some ass. Bankroll management, very important. We took some swings and went for it last week. Almost got our asses bit. We're back to the straight and narrow this week. We're going to keep on climbing until we hit that 100-unit mark. Let's go. We got Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series. And I will just let you know real quick, I already said I got that parlay with Bedoya and Knutson for Dana White's Contender Series. That's the play there. And then I bet Robbie Ring, 3 units at minus 150 to win 2. That's my guy from the Spectation Sports Viewing. We know him. He's an incredible grappler. He's going to have a big edge here on the ground. The number's getting a little out of hand, so I don't know if you want to be laying minus 180, minus 190 necessarily, but that's the side I like, and I tweeted that out a little earlier when I got on it. So good luck if you're going to be degenning out on that. Keep an eye out on social media. That's where I put all my official picks and plays, and when I get enough time here in the next day or two, I'm absolutely going to have action on PFL. Shit, Maddie, I might have more action on PFL than I do UFC this week. It's that kind of a week. So, yeah, it's a good card. It's a fun card. So, everybody keep on the lookout, and we'll see you next week. Hit the like button. I forgot what I was going to say. Thursday, Total Takedown. Friday, undefeated post-weigh-in show. That's what's up. We'll see you guys next week. Be good. Let's roll.